1800 hours, Pakistan Standard Time. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Aisha Nayab. First, the headlines. The national immunization drive against COVID-19 formally began across the country today. Speaker National Assembly has directed the concerned authorities to keep Pak-Afghan border open 6 days a week for commuters. At the United Nations, Pakistan has again called for a political solution to the Afghan conflict, terming it the only path to peace in that country. Foreign Minister says Pakistan wants resolution of Jammu and Kashmir dispute as per wishes of Kashmiri people and relevant UN Security Council resolutions through a free and impartial plebiscite. Hurriyat leadership has thanked the government and people of Pakistan for extending their political, diplomatic and moral support to the oppressed people of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. The second and last test of two-match series between Pakistan and South Africa will begin in Rawalpindi tomorrow. And now the news in detail. The national immunization drive against COVID-19 formally began across the country today. The healthcare staff were administered with first shots of Sinopharm vaccine at a special ceremony at National Command and Operations Center in Islamabad. Speaking on the occasion, Minister for Planning and Development Asad Umar said it is because of government's effective strategy and cooperation of people that we managed to control spread of COVID-19 pandemic. The minister appreciated China for providing the vaccine to Pakistan. He said China is our true friend that has always stood by us in difficult times. The Speaker of the National Assembly, Asad Kaisar, has directed to keep Pak-Afghan border open 6 days a week for commuters. The chair made this ruling while speaking on a calling attention notice in the National Assembly today, which was moved by Guldat Khan and Dr. Haider Ali Khan regarding hampering of economic as well as social activities due to closure of Pak-Afghan border. Responding to calling attention, Interior Minister Sheikh Rashid informed the House that over 4,000 people monthly cross Pakistan-Afghanistan border by road. He said the government will abide by Speaker's ruling. Earlier, Parliamentary Secretary on Interior Shaukat Ali Khan said border between Pakistan and Afghanistan remains open 7 days for trade while it is kept open for commuter for 4 days a week. At the United Nations, Pakistan says turning back from the ongoing Afghan peace process would be a tragedy, especially after making substantial progress towards a political solution to the conflict. This was stated by Pakistan's permanent representative to United Nations, Munir Akram, after senior United Nations official briefed member states on 2021 humanitarian response plan for Afghanistan. The Pakistani envoy said that a political solution is the only path to peace in Afghanistan, saying Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan has consistently maintained that Afghan conflict can be ended not by military force but through a political settlement involving the full spectrum of Afghanistan's political landscape. He said Pakistan also shared international community's determination not to allow Afghanistan's territory to be used by Al-Qaeda, Daesh or other international terrorist groups to threaten or attack any country. Minister for States and Frontier Regions, Sahibzada Mehboob Sultan, has said that Pakistan is very clear in its approach toward Afghan refugees and it will always be going an extra mile to facilitate the Afghan refugees. During a meeting with Ambassador of Afghanistan to Pakistan, Najibullah Ali Khail, he said special instructions have been issued to law enforcement agencies to help avoid all sorts of inconveniences faced by the Afghan refugees. The minister emphasized that international bodies shall not abandon Afghan refugees, given the fact that the world is forgetting sacrifices made by Pakistan in graciously hosting 4 million Afghans over past 40 years. On the occasion, the Afghan ambassador Najibullah Ali Khail lauded the efforts made by Pakistan and its pivotal role in leading peace process in Afghanistan. He said the Afghan government is ready to extend any support to further the communication to resolve issues of the refugees. Minister for Narcotics Control Brigadier retired Ijaz Ahmed Shah says Pakistan will work in close coordination with Saudi Arabia to check the menace of drug smuggling. Talking to Drug Liaison Officer of Saudi Arabia Faisal Ali Bhong in Islamabad today, he said we are trying to formulate a cohesive approach to rehabilitate drug addicts. The Minister for Narcotics said anti-narcotics force will work with Saudi official for action and investigation against drug peddlers. The two sides also discussed mutual cooperation between the two countries to combat drug problem and create a drug-free society. The Saudi drug liaison officer agreed with the minister and said that all institutions need to work together in order to eliminate drugs from our society. This is Radio Pakistan. Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi has reaffirmed Pakistan's commitment to continue to extend full support to Kashmiri people in their just struggle for right to self-determination. Addressing a seminar on Kashmir in Islamabad today, he categorically stated that Pakistan will not let anyone take away Kashmir from Kashmiris. He said this cause and the struggle is just, sacred and non-negotiable. The foreign minister said Pakistan's ultimate objective remains the resolution of Jammu and Kashmir dispute as per wishes of Kashmiri people and relevant UN Security Council resolutions through a free and impartial plebiscite under the UN auspices. Commending resilience of Kashmiri people in the face of Indian atrocities, Foreign Minister expressed confidence that the Kashmiri spirit will ultimately triumph. The foreign minister was apprehensive of the increasing international denunciation of India's brutal campaign in illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Alluding to Indian blatant human rights violations in the illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, the foreign minister said India wants to change demographic structure of the territory in violation of UN Security Council resolutions and international law. He said Hindutva ideology is not only a threat to Kashmiris but to India's own nationals as well as particularly Muslims. In Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, Hurriyat leaders have thanked the government and the people of Pakistan for extending full political, diplomatic and moral support to the oppressed people of Jammu and Kashmir. In connection with the announcement by Pakistan to observe, like every year, 5th February as Kashmir Solidarity Day, the leaders in their statements in Srinagar said Pakistan is a source of inspiration for the Kashmiri people who are spearheading the struggle for freedom from India. They hoped that Islamabad would redouble its effort on the diplomatic front to further expose India globally for its brutalities in Kashmir. The leaders made it clear to the Indian rulers that the Kashmiris' aspiration for freedom could not be defeated through brutal measures and military might. On the other hand, Kashmiri and Indian scholars have expressed outrage over the Indian government's order of making all public universities and institutions bound to seek approval before hosting international online forums on Kashmir. The 70th death anniversary of prominent leader of Pakistan movement and creator of the name of Pakistan, Chaudhry Rahmat Ali, was observed today. Chaudhry Rahmat Ali was Muslim nationalist who authored famous pamphlet Now or Never, Are We to Live or Perish Forever? He died on this day in 1951 and was buried at Cambridge in the United Kingdom. UN Secretary-General Special Envoy Christian Schaffer Burgers has urged Security Council to collectively send a clear signal in support of democracy in Myanmar, saying power grab by country's military was unconstitutional and illegal. Addressing 15-member council, Christian strongly condemned recent steps taken by military and called for a state of emergency to be repealed and for the detained leaders to be released. The envoy also highlighted other aspects of the crisis which could hamper efforts to address the situation of country's Rohingya Muslim community living in Rakhine State. South Korea has urged United States to show flexibility to revive denuclearization talks with North Korea. South Korea's unification minister in charge of inter-Korean affairs, Lee Yan-yang, during a news conference in Seoul, said the news administration of U.S. President Joe Biden has not announced any North Korea policy, but Seoul is keen to resuscitate stalled cross-border economic cooperation. The second and last test of two-match series between Pakistan and South Africa will begin in Rawalpindi tomorrow. The match will start at 10 a.m. Pakistan Standard Time. Pakistan leads the two-match series 1-0. And finally, the weather. Cloudy weather with chances of rain and snowfall over the hills is expected at isolated places in Islamabad, North Punjab, and Kashmir during the next 12 hours. Cold and dry weather is expected in other parts of the country. And that is the end of the news. For more news and analysis, log on to our website radio.gov.pk and also watch live video streaming of our bulletin on the link facebook.com/Radio Pakistan News Official.